Listen to this, right? Somebody on here asked a question. Everybody who migrated outside of Trinidad and Tobago, somewhere else, right? If they would come back, considering the crime situation. And here comes the interesting part in your comment sections. Almost all men, let's say 90% of the man, saying that the crime situation is so bad that they would not come back to Trinidad and Tobago, that they feel safe wherever they is, right? Canada, USA. They love their jewelry, you know, and they don't want nobody to love their jewelry more, you understand? But when you now check the female comments, right? Almost all of them, 95% of them say, yes, I want to go home. I want to return back home. I'm missing home. I miss the community. I miss the nature. I miss the goodness of everything, right? Isn't that interesting that the same gender who is responsible for almost all the crime in Trinidad and Tobago don't want to return back home because of the crime? You might ask yourself, who is you? A white woman on here? You know, studying all your business. I lived for over 15 years in Trinidad and Tobago, and I love all your beautiful, amazing country too bad. And crime exists everywhere. But isn't that something we should think about, how to maybe change or try to change or influence the youth, especially the male youth, to do better and not to choose violence? Because most of the crime committed is from males in Trinidad and Tobago, and the females who do commit the crime is mostly because they fight back, and in the process of fighting back, maybe kill their abuser, you know? Things happen. Or should we ask ourselves how to reduce the crime so it would be safe again to live in this paradise island, twin island of Trinidad and Tobago? Just some thoughts from a Russian who can't wait to return back home to Trinidad and Tobago, even though I was not born there. To all your beautiful, amazing country. When are you gonna stop bashing it and start doing something about it?
Yeah, no. I know some of you all gonna be vexed with me, you know. But you wanna be an ass to go and buy a car with $30,000-$40,000 in cash from somebody you meet on Facebook or on some social app. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Every minute I like seeing somebody getting robbed, people getting killed, people disappearing, and all you still going and walk around the place with cash in envelope to buy a car. All his ass. I don't care who vex, all his ass.
Was looking forward to moving into her new home with her family by Christmas. But sadly, when she went to check into her soon-to-be new home, she was ambushed by bandits, stabbed in her neck and died. Residents of the area heard screaming and saw 3 men running out of the structure and jumped into a maroon vehicle. One of the residents found Peters lying down on the ground with a knife in her neck. She died before the ambulance and the police could arrive. So yesterday we established that crime is a business in this country. And people will say that you can't blame the government for crime. But think about it. Keith Rowley and his PNM party has had 5 years in the opposition to think about how to curb crime in this country. Right? They have had 9 years in power to curb crime in this country. But still nothing has been done. I don't care if it's a UNC or PNM, if you used to support NJAC, NAR, if you support Gary, you support Philip Alexander, all of these parties is just a waste of time and just a funnel for taxpayer money. So you're telling me with all these degrees and so much brain that these political leaders have, and all these members of parliament have, that none of them can actually find the solution for crime? Well, take my Duncy advice. People, guide your children correctly. You know, talk to your children, because at the end of the day, it's our children running around killing each other, right? Show your children love. Spend time with your children. Let them understand right from wrong. Show your children love. Show your children how to love. And make sure it's not your child pulling a gun and pulling a trigger in the future. Maybe we have to stop looking to the west and we have to start looking to the east. I don't care if you're black, I don't care if you're white, I don't care if it's a Chinese, Indian, if it's a red man. We all live in this land.
They're not doing nothing at all for the East-West corridor. They're doing nothing.
You wouldn't want to hear me because it's the truth I'm speaking.
But you're speaking the truth to me and you're throwing a tantrum to me that you were supposed to throw to the last administration and you didn't.
Residents of the Maloney HDC development complained to Minister in the Ministry of Housing, Philip Alexander, as he toured the facility with members of the media.
If I could carry and show you my place, what if you see my ground, if you see water coming through my window enough time.
It have 3 ministers, and what the 3 ministers is doing for Trinidad and Tobago.
But while he sought to uncover their many concerns, Alexander said there's only one entity to blame.
No, he can't get away with saying that, and I want to say this. All right, step away. I want to say this. There has to be an accounting for the condition of these communities. Somebody is responsible for this. This gentleman is right to be upset, but he is wrong to say that the last administration is not to blame. That goes at their feet. And the reason, just now, sir, the reason that I am here is to fix that.
But the residents said they are tired of the blame game.
So right now, it's agency problem and not the government.
All right, okay.
If you forget the government.
All right, no, you can't.
If you forget
you
the
can't.
government.
All right, okay, but you can't.
Because we playing blame.
All right, okay, no, we're not.
Apart from HDC's failure to maintain the infrastructure, residents also say machinery provided by the state entity as recently as last year stopped working. And they lamented poor upkeep of the surrounding areas. The minister sought to assure that this will be addressed.
The grass will be cut. It may not be to the standard he likes or to the fact that he may want his friends and family back here on jobs. We've seen all of that.
Not the friends and family.
All right, well, okay. Okay, but going forward. All right.
Alexander said other issues of mismanagement and alleged irregularities will also be dealt with.
There were duplications of contracts. This is what we've learned. The HEC was cutting the grass on one side of the pavement and there were CPEP contractors cutting the grass on the other side of the pavement. That didn't make any sense at all. The streamlining all of the operations to make this HDC more cost competitive and functional.
But the residents are not convinced.
This problem has been going on for the past few years and it's not reaching to the head and them not taking it serious.
How many ministers came?
But
how many ministers walked with you?
This is the first one.
Okay.
I respect that principle.
Right, so I'm saying, so she asked you, how confident are you? You and I walk in the rain.
I am not confident until I see action.
CNC3 News attempted to contact Maloney MP Camille Robinson-Regis, who also served as housing minister between 2022 to 2025. However, there was no response up to news time. K. Marie Fletcher, CNC3 News.
Ready? Tell me.
You hear what happened this evening?
What
Find a woman in the back so and a tomato peel the plant up.
Yeah.
You know she did? A tomato choker.
ICC, the International Criminal Court, Trinidad and Tobago. I want to read a comment that was on one of our daily newspaper by Vincent. In 1989, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, A.N.I. Robinson, addressed the United Nations General Assembly with a proposal to establish a permanent international criminal court. The proposal was at first motivated by the fight against narcotics trafficking. It was soon broadened to include genocide, war crime, crimes against humanity. It served as the world's only criminal tribunal to adjudicate on crimes to humanity where national judicial systems are unwilling or unable to act. It predicated on the principles that no individual, regardless of political office, military authority, should be beyond the reach of justice. Any movement to abandon or weaken the support of the ICC have profound implications. Withdrawal from the ICC risks eroding the international rule of law and the principle of accountability. Trinidad and Tobago, in an era where terrorist network, the need for robust global institution has become more or not less important. It premises on safeguarding human dignity and the pursuit of justice and the rule of law. The Crown went on to say, he said in this context that A&R Robinson's diplomatic initiative were to secure a distinguished place in the history by the creation of the ICC, International Criminal Court. He went on also to say it reflects the best interests on small states to seek global protection. He said he took this message as a request of the Prime Minister A&R Robinson to the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Malaysia. He said and the proposal was founded favor with the heads. He said, he went on to say it was a true diplomatic moment for TNT to set its footprint on the establishment of a permanent independent tribunal for justice beyond our borders. He said many international scholars consider this movement as one of the most important initiatives ever taken by a Caribbean state. He said Trinidad and Tobago legacy in this matter should not be erased. The newspaper report that U.S. Secretary of State vowed to dismantle the ICC and is urging other countries to join the effort is a matter of deep concern and should discourage, as international justice should not depend solely upon the interests of major powers. Trinidad and Tobago, A&R Robinson, who came from Tobago, a country with 68,000 people. A&R Robinson was the first finance minister of Trinidad and Tobago. A&R Robinson was the first prime minister of Trinidad and Tobago from Tobago. A&R Robinson was the first Tobagonian from Tobago to become the president of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. A&R Robinson was the first chairman of the Tobago House of Assembly. He played a very important part in establishing the Tobago House of Assembly. Trinidad and Tobago, A&R Robinson was Kamla Prasad Bisasa Prime Minister when she was the older man for Soparia. A&R Robinson was Kamla Prime Minister and political leader when she was the candidate for Soparia in the 1991 general election for the NAR. A&R Robinson was Kamla Prasad Bisasa President when she was Minister of Education and the first female Attorney General for the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. A&R Robinson sat next to Kamla Prasad Bisasa when Kamla Prasad Bisasa as Prime Minister renamed Kong Point International Airport to A&R Robinson International Airport. She was there singing alongside A&R Robinson. I'm calling on Martin George. I'm calling on Wilford James. I'm calling for the two members. I'm calling on the two members of the Tobago East and West, and the member for Tobago East, where A&R Robinson, who served as member of Parliament for 18 years for the Tobago East representative. I'm calling on the 15 older men and older women. 15, not older men and older, 15 assemblymen and assemblywomen and councillors in the Tobago House of Assembly to make their voices be heard and let the Prime Minister of the day know that we will not support any removal of the International Criminal Court, especially where Anna Robinson, who was held hostage as Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago in our country's darkest period, where members of his cabinet along with other members of parliament and civilians in the parliament, where I was also there, where I saw where Anna Robinson said attack with full force, they are torturers, they are murderers, and he take a gunshot in saving our democracy. Are we going to turn our back in what it stands for crimes against genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, narco trafficking? Are we going to allow big states to dictate our pace, where we see a little man from a country where leaders and people throughout the world knows nothing of? I remember at A&R Robinson's funeral at Napa, a representative from the International Criminal Court came and bring a message on behalf of the President of the International Criminal Court and talk about A&R Robinson was the person who was the founder and the creator for this international court, where the Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar was in attendance. I remember also when Kamla Persad-Bissessar went to Tobago, Dwight York Stadium, for the second leg of A&R Robinson's funeral, where she gave this speech about what A&R Robinson did and put Trinidad and Tobago on the international world stage in the creation of the International Criminal Court. I remember what Alfred London said about A&R Robinson at his funeral. I remember what MP Toppin said also at his funeral. Tobagonians and Trinidadians, we must not allow the dismantling of the International Criminal Court, and we must stand and let our voices be heard, and let the Prime Minister know that we will stand side by side in making sure that our history and A&R Robinson history remain, and the International Court of Justice remain to protect small states throughout the Caribbean and throughout the world and the Commonwealth. Trinidad and Tobago, now is the time for your voice to be heard.
The entire country, and forgive me here, Heavy, I know where your stance is on this matter.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything 2 days ago, I didn't say anything yesterday, but I'll say it now. Right? The entire country looking on at what happened mainly with the police officer in San Fernando,
right,
and saying, yeah, government, by your fault. When in the reality of things, something like that doesn't just birth just like that. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
We have a lot of corrupted police officers in the Trinidad and Tobago police service. Eat our food.
Not now, long time.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
That does not get birthed in 1 year.
No.
It does not. And for Keith Rowley, or anybody as a matter of fact, to turn around and say, yeah, it's your fault because you said you had a crime plan, and look, your crime plan, nothing working, and you have a rolling state of emergency, and still things like that happening in a police station, I call BS, and I say it's a bunch of ludicrous. Because the reality is, it is technically under what you allowed for the service to get so bad. Because you did nothing. You raised a crucial point yesterday. Gary Griffith tried to clean up some of the police service under the very People's National Movement, and he was chastised for such.
Correct.
100%. The police service kick against it.
Not only chastised, he was removed.
He was removed for such. He was removed from office, not under Kamla Persad-Bissessar, but under Keith Rowley, under the PNM, the same party that have the same set of stooges inside the parliament today, the same opposition Penelope Beckles, the same Faris Al-Rawi, the same Colin Inbate, all of them, alright? Anything too. while they're talking about crime and crime out of control, blah, 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 it is Kamala Persad-Bissessor and the UNC in 2019 that gave their support for the bail amendment bill. When the same thing was asked of the People's National Movement to support the zones of special operations, they turn around and they say no.
Right.
There's a reason for it. The People's National Movement does not want to see crime fixed in Trinidad and Tobago because they campaign on that. They benefit on crime being out of control. You know why? Because it's a way for them to scare the base and to tell the base, you see, we alone could take care of all here. We alone could run Trinidad and Tobago. And when they actually get the chance to run Trinidad, they run it into the ground. You correct, you know. The PNM is better in opposition. Because while they're in opposition, they suddenly know all the things and all the avenues to rile up the ground and rile up the population.
I told you so.
And blame Kamala Persad-Bissessor. And the way that they blame Kamala is by saying one little word: she racist. And they use race. They say she don't care about Laventille, she don't care about Mova. If she pass zones of special operations, it's only black people she targeting. When in reality, it is the very same black people within Laventille, Beetham, Sealots, Mova, wherever, that killing each other. For what reason?
Play that. Play the one on top there.
This one?
Yeah, play it.
You ready?
Can I roll? You go ahead. I listen to you. You need that in the background. Go ahead.
But that's the reality. It is the very same black people like killing each other in Trinidad and Tobago. How do we deal with that? The PNM don't care about it. The PNM wins every single time on guiding the black people wrong and the black community wrong, saying that we are the ones that will do this and do that and do the other. Now when you get them office, they do nothing for you. I listened to the former temporary senator, meet me outside on the road. His name is Harvey Boris. He just still talk for PNM. You know what you tell me, Heavy? You tell me, brother, it's only under UNC black people as get so much, you know.
Okay.
Under the PNM, they don't give you nothing, you know.
Okay.
They just give their own. So people gotta really understand that. Oh, and I like what you're saying again. All the talk by Keith Rowley, by this one, by that one, is just to distract the people and his way to get back into some sort of relevancy. Correct. So don't listen to Keith Rowley. Don't listen to PNM. People have to be mindful out here, you know. You see, this game of politics is a dangerous one. And what is happening today is the opposition is using every single micro thing against the government to try and destabilize the government and try to bring down the Kamala Persad-Bissessor-led administration. And I'll wrap up by saying, remember section 54. Remember Emailgate. Remember all the things that was brought up back then. It is just 10 times more emphasized right now by the PNM.
I am a great believer in this country, in the people of this country. I believe that we can fix what is wrong in this country. I don't see the need for any foreign intervention or help. This is our problem.
What steps do you think need to be taken to rebuild our trust in our police system and in our government in terms of fighting crime? If you had to give suggestions to the government.
All right, so the police have a role to play, okay? But when you're dealing with crime that has, for example, got to do with breakdown of families, displacement of workers, all of these things contribute to this malaise, this lack of trust in the society. Yes, there's more that I suppose we could do to enhance trust in the police service, for example, by beefing up the police complaints authority. But things are interlinked. You have what's the sense of the police doing 100% wonderful job, and then we don't have enough lawyers at the DPP's office to prosecute and convict? If we have a system where trials take years for coming up, things break down. There's a continuum, and you need to fix all the aspects on the continuum. And so to just isolate and say, well, is this one's fault or that one's fault, I don't really think that makes sense. We really do need to look at the thing holistically and to tackle it as a society. The government could only do so much, you know. The parliament could only do so much.
Trinidad and Tobago morning. So, I want all you to listen to this video. Have a listen. And you could form your own opinion on what is going on in this country.
Where is the Criminal Bar Association? Where is the Law Association? Blessings to all. Where are those lawyers who are advocating for good governance under the PNM? Every Monday morning, some lawyer on some social media and some lawyer talking this and talking that. But you know what happened? The UNC in power. So all these so-called individuals who was speaking about good governance and democracy, all of them going to sleep, looking for brief. Who ain't looking for brief? Looking for board position. Who ain't looking for board position? Looking for some kind of position. That is how the thing going. So I am seeing now that the government making move to put the Anti-Corruption Bureau under the office of the Attorney General and the Attorney General himself. What this country going mad or what? Are they going mad? Are they forgetting this? Let me read something for you, because I call it forgetting what happened in this country. Are they playing dumb, blind and deaf? Listen this. Let me back up a little more. The role of former Attorney General John Jeremy has been under scrutiny in a number of high-profile criminal matters before the courts in the past and one at present. Going back, you know what the present mean. This scrutiny came to the forefront against last month following a Privy Council ruling delivered by 5 law lords who squashed the Piaco 1 criminal case involving former government ministers, contractors, political financiers on the grounds of bias. In all, there are 4 Piaco cases involving the same accused, with varying charges. Businessman John Henry Smith, now deceased, and Barbara Gomes had sued former Chief Magistrate, now deceased, Sherman McNichols, the Office of the Attorney General and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, citing bias. It was on their application that the Privy Council ruled, stating that McNichols had been hopelessly compromised via assistance from John Jeremy to get a Clico company to repurchase McNichols' land. It goes a little further. In their analysis, the Lords linked the conviction of then Prime Minister Basdo Pandey by McNichols, the move to impeach former Chief Justice Shat Sharma amid allegation made by McNichols, and the role of facilitator by John Jeremy. This is what it's saying, and the story going. I asked only to read that story, but only playing dumb and blind. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we now hearing that the government intend to put the Anti-Corruption Bureau under the purview of the Attorney General, a man who the Privy Council class as a facilitator in a wrongdoing. As a result, the Piaco case crash #1. As a result, the impeachment crash. And today, all you're saying no and accepting this? Law Association, all you get dumb. Criminal Bar Association, all you get dumb too. What about the civil society in this country who once talk under the PNM about standing up for what is right and forbidding what is wrong? All that going through the window, I will deal with this very serious. I go on.
Had they cut the cable, they would have been electrocuted. In fact, I imagine I was so concerned about they not recognizing that I had put up a sign, please do not cut, because there is live electricity. So I was trying to save the thief from himself, you know. They also attempted to cut down the TNTech pole itself because they wanted to get at the wire up at the top there. I have been the subject of at least 5 break-ins.
You know,
and yes, now, to the layman it doesn't mean much, but the ATS is something that is well known by certified electricians. That little box with all the instruments inside of it, that costs about $10,000 to $15,000. So again, a spranger would not be after that because there is no copper. There's no copper there. It has to be someone who is certified, who knows the value of that electrical item. You know. So what I suggest is that there is a well-oiled conspiracy taking place in the area, because I am not the only one who have been the recipient of predial larceny and also electrical and invasions and home invasion, because they have broke into my house about 4 or 5 times. They used, in fact, a pig foot, and they've also seemed to have used, in fact, a hammer or something to put up, and they have used portable grinders also. They come well armed and well prepared. The thing is, in fact, I have a caretaker here on the property, and
$250,000 allegedly taken by 3 police officers during the search of the home of scrap iron dealer Akini Joseph is now under investigation by officers of the Professional Standards Bureau following a report made by Joseph's relatives. Attorney Subhash Pandey, representing Akini Joseph, said Joseph's relatives reported the matter to the PSB. The complaint was made against a corporal and 2 constables who were part of a search at Joseph's home. Pandey told TV6 that several officers of the Marabella police station arrived at Joseph's residence on Saturday evening, June 27th, and said they came to search for a quantity of stolen brass. When the officers arrived, Joseph was not at his Claxon Bay residence since he was attending a cricket match. According to Pandey, Joseph was called by a relative by phone during the search, and he told the relative to allow the cops to search the compound. During the search, Pandey said that officers choked the ceiling in one of the bedrooms, causing a $5 bill to fall from the ceiling to the floor. Pandey reported that shortly after, at the corporal's request, one of the police constables walked outside and grabbed a ladder. He claimed they removed a box from the ceiling with money in stacks of $50,000, totaling the sum of $250,000. Police sources also stated that they had obtained video footage of the operation from CCTV cameras, which showed one of the constables leaving the premises and allegedly stuffing money into his pockets. TV6 saw one of the video clippings. The police had declared to Joseph's relatives that they had found nothing illegal on the compound. Pandey stated that when Joseph arrived, the cops were just about to conclude their search, and he was alerted by a relative that the police had reportedly stolen money from the bedroom. Attorney Pandey further added that Joseph confronted the corporal, insisting that the money taken should be returned, and expressed his wish to contact his lawyer. According to Pandey, Joseph continued to protest the removal of the cash, and it was at that point police officers detained him. He said his client was detained for several days for alleged threats against police officers, and it was only on Wednesday, July 1st, he was questioned about stolen brass. On July 6th, Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander signed a preventive detention order for Joseph based on intelligence reports alleging he was part of an informal crime group. According to the notice, Joseph has been linked to the disposal of stolen items via a scrap metal business. It further claims he threatened specific police officers during a recent search of his residence and has been linked to firearm possession. Authorities reported that intelligence suggested Joseph's group was preparing to escalate its operations, intensifying attacks on commercial premises. Pandey stated that he has subsequently submitted an application to review his client's PDO and is still awaiting a date for the hearing before the review tribunal. Pandey said police were abusing the state of emergency and going into innocent people's homes without search warrants. He said authorities must take steps to prevent this kind of behavior. Mark Besant, TV6 News.
How? So it seems like Caspar and his friends broke into Marcy Motors and steal vehicles, because Ain't no way and how. 3 MG vehicles vanished from Massimoto's in San Fernando. Massimoto's targeted 3 vehicles worth $525,000 stolen from Lease B. Police have launched an investigation after 3 MG motor vehicles valued at a combined $525,000 was stolen from the Massimoto's compound on Superior Street, San Fernando. The vehicles, a white MG registration PEL 453, a black MG registration PEL 6455, and a silver MG registration PEL 2368 were each valued at approximately $175,000. According to police, the vehicles were last seen parked beneath a leasing shed at the dealership's compound on the morning of July 9th. When checks were made around 11:30 a.m. on July 10th, all 3 vehicles had disappeared. Police were told that no permission had been given for the vehicles to be moved. Officers from the San Fernando CID responded to the scene. Inquiries into the theft are ongoing. How? It had to be Casper or the ghost on them that was working CPEP, because I want to know how.
Hello, amazing and beautiful people of Trinidad and Tobago. My good people, in today's video, we are going to talk about the crime in Trinidad and Tobago. What do you think? Is it rising or going down? I know we've already seen so many reports, but I don't know at the same time if you have already noticed something. And as you all know, crime is one of the biggest conversations that is happening in Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, every week we get to see headlines over headlines, another family grieving, another family, another community living in fear, and many citizens are asking the question, which is like, what is enough? What is enough? Or is it enough? Is enough being done, by the way, by the police, by the TTPS in Trinidad and Tobago? So today I want us to talk about the crime itself, because it's something that is really affecting everybody. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter if you are. Crime doesn't really select. So anyway, before we talk about that, we also need to talk about accountability, and we are going to talk about why is it that so many Trinidadians are demanding answers from their own government. You see, this is not about politics alone, honestly speaking. And before we actually talk about this particular topic, we need to know that crime is all about people's lives, right? It's not politics at all, as you can see. And let me tell you, my good people, but before that, kindly comment down below. Let me know what you think about our topic today. We really need your input. I don't know if you feel safer. Are you a Trinidadian? Do you feel safer today than you did a year ago, or last year you felt a little bit safer than today? I mean, do you believe that much more needs to be done in Trinidad and Tobago? So, my good people, as I told you, crime affects everybody. It does not ask who voted or who didn't vote, Crime doesn't care about your job. It doesn't care about your community. And if it rises, by the way, everybody will feel it. Our parents, ourselves, the business owners, tourists. It's going to affect everybody, even the investors themselves, even our leaders, So crime changes how the entire community perceives their safety. The entire community of Trinidad and Tobago, it's going to affect them in such a way that they love to change their daily routines. And you'll see people starting to avoid certain areas. Some will start to avoid, or they'll actually stop going out after probably 6 p.m. You'll see others spending more money on security. So crime changes how people live at the end of the day. So many Trinidadians are now saying that they feel exhausted, they are tired. Because each and every time leaders stand on the podium and speak, they actually talk so much but with less action. So they're tired of these speeches. They feel like they've had enough of these promises. They feel like they've watched enough of these press conferences about security. What they want is just actions. You see, now there is a growing frustration among the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And you see, the people now understand that crime is kind of complicated in some way. And there is no magic solution to this. There is no government that can eliminate crime in an overnight, just like that. So we already know all about that. But still, Trinidadians demand for leadership, better leadership. They actually want to know that they are expecting better from their own government. They are expecting their leaders to come up with a strategy that is going to get them out of this. Because you see, when violent crimes continue making headlines, there is a channel, by the way, that always does these crime stories in Trinidad and Tobago. And if these stories continue making headlines, I can tell you that the public confidence will terribly go down. And Trinidadians will actually start asking questions louder and louder, not silently. They'll begin to ask whether the current policies are working or not. They'll begin asking whether enough resources are being, they are with the police or not, or they're reaching the police or not. They will begin asking whether intelligence gathering in Trinidad and Tobago is improving or not. They will also ask whether criminal networks are being disrupted or not. I mean, these are very reasonable questions that Trinidadians are asking for. So many governments, not really like many governments, the current administration in Trinidad and Tobago, it's being judged by how they are going to respond to these questions that are being asked by the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Not by what they promised, no, but by what they will deliver. Leadership, in most cases, becomes very important during moments of crisis. That's when you'll see people appreciating it. And many citizens in these developing countries, they want their leaders who acknowledge problems, who communicate honestly, who explain what is being done, and who also admit when challenges remain. People all over the world, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, they do appreciate honesty, even when the news are very, very difficult. So many Trinidadians are not asking for a perfection or a perfectionist. They're not asking for leaders who are perfect. No. They're not asking for policies that are perfect. No. They're just asking for a progress, improvement, We actually found this year. It has now moved to year. I mean, just that progress only. They want to see improvements. They want to feel safer in their communities. When it comes to investigating anything, they want to see it being done very fast. They want to see successful prosecutions. I mean, the witnesses, they just want the best for them, better protection for them. They want policies that are effective. You see, these are some of the things that Trinidadians are always talking about each and every day. And if you look at crime, it does not affect the people only, it also affects businesses. Because you see, entrepreneurs will become cautious. And that will mean that also insurance, it will really cost high when it comes to insecurity issues. When the insecurity is like high, or if crime is rising in any country. For this instance, if we talk about crime going up in Trinidad and Tobago, I mean, insurance businesses, it will really, really cost high to insure your car. It will cost very, very high to insure your home. It will cost very, very high to just insure anything, even your own death. because it's uncertain anyway at the end of the day. Investors again, hey, they'll think like 10 times before they come to Trinidad and Tobago. And that will mean also that tourism sector is going to go down. Remember that in Trinidad and Tobago, tourism is one of the key economic activity. The Caribbean, just that weather. Beautiful ocean, you know, beautiful. Anyway, families also, they're going to be affected. Confidence will go down. The impact of crime, hey, I can tell you, it goes beyond reporting it to the police. Because you see, it touches every part of the society. And that is why crime remains to be a topic that is extremely emotional. Every statistics in crime stories represents real people, real families. I mean, a neighbor, a friend, a sister, a brother, a colleague, you know. These are real people that are behind these headlines that come up every day about insecurity. So, if there is something that we should never forget, is the fact that many Trinidadians also believe that they have to play a role in the community, you know. Not just them, also the parents, teachers, religious leaders, youth leaders, business people. I mean, just everybody has a responsibility here. Because at the end of the day, crime cannot be solved by the government only, no. The government, of course, I mean, I don't know how to put this, but government leadership will always remain essential, of course, yeah. People expect coordinations, actions, results, you know, progress here and there. But again, guys, remember that we have the opposition. These people, hey, the opposition are the critics or those that don't really support anything that the government does or the policies that are in that country. So these people will find them most of the time arguing that, you see, the responses from the government, it doesn't match the seriousness of the problem, you know. That's according to them, but yeah, as much as sometimes you could feel that way, it's also important to understand that some issues are so complex, perspective-wise, you know, and that's how you'll find these particular kind of topics being publicly debated, which is also important because, you see, these conversations really help us to remain focused on how to deal with this issue. That's why you'll not see people insulting each other, you'll not see a lot of shagala bagala, because crime is something that affects everybody, everyone equally. And you see, one of the biggest concerns that has been raised by the people is the fact that they always come out to talk about this. Trinidadians want a long-term solution or plan when it comes to fighting crime. They're tired with this temporary reaction, like something happens, they come to the streets, they start talking, they protest, then everything goes back to normal. No, people know that Trinidadians want sustainable solutions that will continue regardless of any administration that comes in. And you see, young people in Trinidad and Tobago, they deserve the attention that they really need, you know. Many business people believe that education is an investment. People want job opportunities, and they also believe in sporting talents, mental health support. You see, all these things, they play a major role when it comes to supporting the young people. So when we have these particular programs, community programs, it will really help reduce this crime. Okay, it will be slowly by slowly, because you see, these are people that are already been recruited, but if you plan them and you help them and support them in whichever way that you can, then I can honestly tell you that crime activities will go down. At the end of the day, prevention is better than curing. That's a matter of fact, by the way. Prevention is better and it matters a lot. The government needs to have a balanced strategy, a strong one, by the way, that will produce a very strong results. The police officers, on the other hand, they also have to chip in and enforce, put pressure on these people. I know many people put their lives daily on the risk, daily. Many people, especially the police. And honestly, most of us depend on the police on this. They put their lives out there for us. So what I have noticed is that the people of Trinidad and Tobago, they want the TTPS to have a better equipment, better training, better technology, and they want also support. That's all that they need, nothing else. And again, you see, public confidence is very, very important, because when the confidence level is high, then it means that the police and the normal citizens can work together. Public confidence, very, very important in these government institutions. Trust is earned through results, transparency, professionalism, fairness, accountability, and especially during difficult times, when you show all those principles or qualities, you are at the top. So as Trinidadians continue to demand for answers, one thing that I've noticed that it has come out very clear is the fact that they're really paying attention on this, and they're asking very, very many questions. They're expecting measurable progress, and most of these people are unwilling to accept endless excuses, endless speeches, without actions. So whether you who is watching is supporting the government or not, I can honestly tell you, when it comes to crime, everybody wants the same outcome. People want safer streets. People want safer schools. People want a safer Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, they want a place where people are united and not divided. So the government, I can tell you, it will continue facing pressure when it comes to questions on security of the country. And I can tell you that also the opposition, they'll not be left behind. They'll be there to talk, raise concerns here and there. People want accountability. That's how democracy works. When we ask questions, it's healthy, it's part of democracy. Anyway, at the end of the day, constructive criticism is healthy, right? What matters most is whether the ordinary people of Trinidad and Tobago are going to feel safer in their daily life. That's the most important thing, because that's what all of them want. They don't want the speeches, the slogans, They want results. They want something that they can see. People are watching closely. They are judging. Not just judging, but judging actions more than words, People expect that the leaders that they put in place or voted for they're going to remain focused on delivering meaningful change. I don't know what you think, guys. I don't know what you think about the crime level in Trinidad and Tobago. Do you think that so much has been done to tackle it? Or do you think that the government should actually come up with a strategy, a different one, in fact? Kindly share your views respectfully in the comment section. Let's have a constructive discussion. If you enjoyed this analysis, like the video, subscribe, and we'll be coming out here every day to do videos. So stay safe. I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.